The final boss is back. It's go time. Season 3 is here. Are you tuning in? Every Sunday is Sitting Down Sundays with the final boss. Get ready for an inspiring journey as we dive deep into the transformation from the nation's capital to the entertainment capital of the world. This is the conversation that will ignite your dreams and fuel your ambitions. What you'll experience: game-changing insights from industry leaders, real talk about making impossible dreams possible, the blueprint for leveling up your life, motivation that hits different. This isn't just another podcast episode. This is your wake-up call to greatness. Don't just listen, absorb, don't just hear. Transform, don't just dream, execute. Drop a like in the comments if you're ready to level up with us.
Welcome, everyone joining us. Thank you for being here. I know people are watching the Super Bowl, but if you're here, that means you're in the right place because this is where you're supposed to be. And thank you for joining us. I see you, Affirmations. Thank you for joining us. Shakandi, thank you for joining us. Everyone else who's here, thank you for joining us. The Real Lions Den, Jai Mia, thank you. And others who are coming on board. Thank you. Man, I really appreciate you guys, man. Let's look. Shout out to y'all. For being here and first in line. You know, I take care of those who are first. And the beautiful Andrea is here as well. She missed her claps. Let's give her some claps, right? Let's give her a welcome as well. Look, we have a great show for you tonight, per always, right? Tonight's episode is number 186, man. 186, as we are 14 episodes away from the end of season 3, The Reckoning, right? And then we're going to go into season 4. Season 4 is a little bit different. We're going to look a little bit, if not a lot, different. I'm still working out the details for it. Still working out a lot of different things for season 4 as it vastly approaches. And look, if you haven't already, I gotta do the shameless plug for, guess what? Go Time, man. Go get Go Time. If you haven't gotten it already, go get Go Time. All aboard the Fired Up train on its way to being a national bestseller. Imagine that. It is on its way to being a national bestseller. And I am super proud. And the reason why is because it's because of you, each and every last single one of you. Thank you for the support. If you haven't picked it up, man, go get Go Time, all aboard the Fired Up train, right? Go get Go Time, all aboard the Fired Up train. This is your motivation workbook. It's your motivation workbook, but it's also your motivation textbook. Listen, this is part of the Go Time series, the Go Time principle. The Go Time principles that are on its way. Look, man, it's on its way, man. Several versions. I'm not going to tell you how many iterations that are going to be coming, but there are more than that one, and you need each and every last single one of them, right? So back to the show, right? Back to the show. So, man, I'm gonna get right into it, man, because I know everybody's watching the game, and but if you're here, you are meant to be here, right? So let me tell you something, right? There were 3 words that changed everything in 1787, right? And 1787, 3 words that changed, right? And those 3 words were we the people. We the people, right? We the people, not we the government, not we the media, not we the corporations, but somewhere along those lines, right? Somewhere along those lines, that verbiage was lost, right? Because somewhere between the founding of this republic and this very moment tonight, we forgot what those words actually mean, right? And to my final bosses, to my warriors, to my smarts, to my motivators, get your pen and papers ready because we get ready to go to school, right? We get ready to go to school and it's 9 p.m. No bathroom breaks, no hallway passes because class is in session, right? And to each and every last single one of you, no matter where you're watching, to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Instagram, or for your listening pleasures, if you're on Spotify, right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to the Final Boss community, oh, you know what? I need to give the greeting of the day. The greeting of the day is this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And thank you, each and every single one of you being here. Listen, to my Final Boss community, this is Sitting Down Sundays, episode number 186. And we're going to do a deep dive into this very subject, right? This very subject. As we're closing out season 3, The Reckoning, with only 15 episodes remaining before season 4, The Rebirth, right? The Rebirth launches episode number 201 with 201, right? And I am the final boss. And tonight, you know, it may sound like it's about politics, but it's more about you. It's more about the power you forgot you have, or I should say the power we forgot we have, right? And exactly how to take it back. Starting tomorrow, right? Starting tomorrow. Hey, Braden, how you doing, man? Glad for you to be here. You're in a good place, man. You're in a good place. So, right? It's about power you forgot you have and exactly how to take it back. And you know what? We're going to start taking it back tomorrow, right? And here's the brass tacks for tonight, right? Here's the brass tacks for tonight. Power forgotten is power surrendered. They need your distraction to maintain control. You need your focus to reclaim that said power, right? The grass survives the storm, but by bending, not breaking, right? Not breaking. I'm going to say that one more time, right? I'm going to say that one more time. Power forgotten is power surrendered, right? They need your distraction to maintain control. You need your focus to reclaim power, right? The grass survives the storm by bending, not by breaking, right? So we're going to open up the floor right now. We're going hot and heavy, right? We're going hot and heavy. So the Constitution opens with "We the people," right? For one specific reason, right? Because power flows from citizens to government, not the reverse, not government to citizens, right? When I joined the military, I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Not the president, not Congress. The document that starts with your sovereignty, right? The founders built this because they studied history. Centralized power always expands. Citizen power requires constant vigilance, right? They created the First Amendment because voice equals power and silence equals submission, right? But here's the problem. If you don't use power, you lose it. Not because it's taken by force, but because you forget you actually have it, right? And most Americans can name every Marvel character in all of the Marvel series, but can't name their local representatives. That's not accident. That, my friends, is by design, right? When we, the people, forget we're powerful, those who want control don't have to fight us. They just need to distract us, right? Now, let me show you exactly how we gave up power incrementally, right? Right? Because I know, right? Number one, entertainment replaced civic engagement, right? The founders debated policy in town halls. We watch reality TV while actual policy passes without awareness. Pay attention. Pay attention. Stop dozing off, right? Number two, representatives stop representing. They serve donors, not constituents. And we vote once, then disengage completely, right? And number three, media became profit driven rage machines, right? You see it all the time. News doesn't inform anymore, it enrages because rage keeps you watching, right? Negativity makes dollars, right? Negativity makes dollars, right? And number four, algorithms replaced critical thinking, right? You think you choose what you consume. The algorithm chooses for you based on what keeps you scrolling, right? And number five, convenience replaced freedom, right? We traded data for convenience, surveillance for security, attention for entertainment, and Benjamin Franklin warned of this very thing, right? Because those who give up liberty for safety deserve neither, right? And number six, division replaced unity, right? They convinced you the enemy is your neighbor who votes differently, while corporations and politicians make decisions affecting both of you, right? And number seven, right? Reaction replaced action, right? We share outrage and argue in comments, right? But when's the last time a viral tweet actually fixed a broken system, right? This wasn't sudden. It was systematic erosion over decades, right? Now, when I raised my right hand and swore allegiance to the Constitution first, right? I swore an allegiance to the Constitution first, right? When I took that oath, when I went into the military, it didn't say to any person, any position, any politician. It's to this country, it's to the Constitution, right? Why? Because the founders knew militaries that swear to leaders became tools of tyranny, right? Militaries that swore to principles protect freedom, right? When the Germany's reign of tyranny, military, they swore to 8-8, right? He was they swore to 8-8, right? The Soviet military swore to the Communist Party, right? Every authoritarian regime requires allegiance to leadership. America's military swears to a document that begins with "We the people," right? On 9/11, we didn't ask, what does the president want? We asked, what does the mission require to protect American citizens? Right? When I deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq, I fought to defend the constitutional system that protects your sovereignty, right? Not government's powers, yours, right? But here's the thing. We can protect your constitutional rights, but we can't use them for you. If you don't vote, we can't vote for you, right? If you don't speak, we can't speak for you. If you don't remember your power, we can't remember it for you, right? The oath that I swore, along with millions of other veterans and military currently serve, right? We all swore an oath, right? That oath doesn't expire. That's why I'm here tonight, reminding you that the power you said doesn't exist, you've had it the entire time, right? Now, let's pivot for a second, right? Let's pivot and let's talk about profits, right? Let's talk about profits when you're enraged, right? Because rage bait is content engineered to trigger emotional reaction and stops critical thinking that keeps you consumed, right? And prevents effective action, right? It's psychological warfare, right? Disguised as news, right? But who creates it? Who creates it? We know who creates it, right? The media companies, right? Outrage generates clicks, clicks generates revenue. That's the formula, right? Political operatives on both sides keep you tribal so you don't analyze failures, right? Algorithm designers, platforms profit. The algorithm designers, right? And these platforms, they profit from engagement, and outrage keeps you scrolling, right? Foreign adversaries like Russia, China, Iran use rage bait to divide us from within. Grifters selling books, courses, survival gear based on manufactured fear, right? Who profits? Who profits, man? You have to pay attention. Number one, you, right? I'm talking to you. Don't you go nowhere, right? Don't you go nowhere. You have to follow the money, right? Media companies sell your attention to advertisers, right? Social platforms increase engagement metrics, right? Politicians fundraise off your outrage, right? Corporations sells products as solutions to exaggerated problems. It's all a system, right? It's all a system. Your anger is a commodity. Your outrage is a product. Your fear is inventory, right? Now, rage bait, right? Rage bait gets published. Algorithm amplifies it. You get angry and share. Your network shares. Everyone's enraged. Nobody's building solutions. Meanwhile, actual decisions get made while you're distracted. And you know what I do? Let me tell you what I do. I sit in the back and I watch it. And this is something that I learned, right? You sit back and watch, right? Because it's all deliberate. Once you notice the patterns and you understand exactly what's happening, you sit back and watch and you sway with the grass. You don't poke your head up, because if you poke your head up, now the sniper has you. You sway with the grass, right? Some say it's not rage bait. Let's call it what it is. I call it both, right? But what does it determine? It doesn't determine anything. You sit still, you be calm, and you watch. And you continue to watch, right? Because before we got to a point of having 24-hour news, right? We had news segments that came on daily at a specific time. We had news in the morning, we had news in the evening. That was it, right? Twice a day. Now we have 24-hour news cycles, right? Media media reports back then, they only reported on significant events, right? Now we have 24 hours to fill daily. They can't fill that with actual news. It's not enough news going around, right? So they create urgency. Breaking news, alarming news, alert news, right? It used to mean something, right? But now the system's broke, right? Now it means please don't change the channel, right? Because there's a cat in the tree, right? There's an entire economy built on keeping you distracted, enraged, divided, right? And divided citizens are easy to control, right? But why does rage bait work, right? Here's your brain chemistry at work, right? When you see triggering content, your amygdala activates before your prefrontal cortex, right? Adrenaline and cortisol flood your system. The body prioritizes reaction over analysis, right? This is evolutionary. Ancient humans who stopped to think about the tiger got eaten, right? Modern media exploits that ancient survival mechanism, right? You believe and share content that confirms what you already think, right? Keyword is think. Algorithms know this. They show you content that reinforces your worldview because you'll enrage even longer, right? Humans, right? That's what we are. We're tribal, right? And we have evolved in tribes. We're we have we were in tribes and we belonged in these tribes because this is what it meant to survive, right? Modern media creates us versus them narratives, right? When you are focused on tribal warfare, you're not watching what both tribe leaders do behind the scenes, right? Anger releases dopamine, right? Sharing outrage feels good, right? You just get to typing away with your little Twitter fingers, right? Your brain rewards you for engaging, right? And over time, you become addicted, right? Social media companies weaponize your neural chemistry, right? Constant exposure to unsolvable problems creates overwhelming, right? It creates decision fatigue, right? And it creates the belief that nothing I do matters, right? Everybody is crashing out. People feeling overwhelmed. I don't have a voice, right? Well, you have a voice right here on the Find the Boss podcast. Because Find the Boss, this is what we do. Find the Boss Nation, Find the Boss community, Find the Boss family, right? To my smarts, to my warriors, to my motivators, to my final bosses. This right here is what it's all about, right? This is what it's all about, right? Because overwhelmed citizens don't organize. They don't vote, right? They build alternatives, right? Because sharing outrage feels like action. It's not. Let me tell you, it's not. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your effort. It's not. It's performance that substitutes for power, right? Because real action is organizing locally, building alternative systems, voting strategically, creating economic power, teaching the next generation how to follow suit so they can exercise these very rights, the same rights that I fought for and many others have fought for, right? Understanding the psychology means you can resist it, right? Knowledge is immunity. Now, look, let me give you some tactical intelligence from the deployments that I've been on, right? Rule number one, not every provocation requires a response, right? And combat zones, enemy uses provocation to reveal your position, waste ammunition, distract from actual threat. exhaust resources, and force disadvantages, disadvantage, disadvantageous engagement, right? Smart units assess, is this actual threat or distraction? Does engagement advance my mission? What does response cost? What advantage does enemy gain if we engage, right? Rage bait operates identically. Before engaging, ask yourself this: does this advance my mission or the enemy's mission, right? And then rule number 2, tactical flexibility beats rigid doctrine, right? Rigid battle plans fail when conditions change. Units that survive adapt to terrain, tactics, weather, resources, and so forth and so on, right? Ancient martial arts call this, like I've said before, swaying with the grass, right? Swaying with the grass. When storms hit, rigid trees break, grass bends with wind, right? It survives, it grows stronger, right? During market crashes, right? During market crashes, sway, adjust tactics, but don't break, right? Media media manufactures outrage, right? Sway, maintain focus, don't engage, right? Algorithms suppress you. Sway, found alternatives, don't quit, right? And rule number 3, this is mission critical operators don't get distracted, right? In combat, mission critical personnel execute protocols and accomplish objectives, right? Lives depend on focus. Distraction equals unaliving, right? You're mission critical to your family, right? Your business, your community, your legacy. If it's mission critical, you don't get to be distracted, right? And rule number 4, identify actual enemy versus manufactured enemy, right? When I was in Iraq, right, there were plenty of enemies, right? Most were civilians trying to survive. Treating everyone as an enemy creates more enemies and destroys mission effectiveness, right? Media makes you think your neighbor is enemy number 1 because they voted differently, right? They're not, right? Your actual opposition are the systems keeping people divided, the corporations profiting from distraction, the politicians representing donors, not citizens, and the algorithms designed to enrage you, right? And rule number 5, operational tempo must, I say must, be sustainable. You can't sprint a marathon, right? You can't sprint a marathon. Rage operates at unsustainable tempo, right? Breaking news every hour, new outrage daily, crisis weekly. Engage at the pace and you will burn out, right? Empire builders set sustainable tempo, consistent execution, long-term building, protected focus time, right? Now, swing with the grass, right? Swing with the grass, my ancient wisdom, right? But we're going to make it applicable for today's times, right? It's a metaphor, right? And it's critical. It's critical for surviving modern psychological warfare, right? When hurricanes hit, Oak trees, although massive, strong, but rigid, stand firm and get destroyed. Right? Grass, it's flexible, adaptive, bends completely and survives. Right? Bruce Lee once said, the stiffest tree is most easily cracked, while the bamboo survives by bending with the wind. Right? This isn't weakness, it's intelligence. Right? A rigid response to rage bait, right, is this. You see it, you get triggered, right? You react emotionally. Ah, right? You share the outrage. Now everyone that sees it is outraged, right? Y'all argue for hours. You stop building, you stop thinking, you exhaust yourself, you burn out, you quit. The results, you're broken and mission has failed. The mission that you were on, you failed that mission, right? Because you couldn't continue on because of all the triggers, right? But here's a flexible response to rage bait. You see it, you recognize it, you assess it, you advance your mission. You choose to engage strategically or you sway, right? Maintain building or completing the mission, right? You let that storm pass. You continue to execute. You emerge on the other side of the storm even stronger, right? And the results is this. You survived and your empire continued to grow, right? And the difference, right? The difference in the trees, I know you guys are asking, is how do I resist this force? Right? The grass asks, how do I survive this force? You see the difference? Trees are asking resist, grass is asking survive, right? Now, let's talk about business and finances a little bit. And we're going to double back, right? Because we've all seen the market crashes. People have rigid responses. They panic. They sell everything, freeze operations, right? But the grass response, assess, identify, acquire undervalued assets, adjust tactics, right? Maintain direction and build while your competitors panic, right? Carnegie, as I stated before, he built his steel empire during America's worst depression by swaying while competitors were broken, right? When life crisis hit, right? You can do a rigid response. You can collapse. You can stop your progress. You can become a victim. Or you can sway with the grass. You can acknowledge the crisis, process emotion, adapt an approach, and maintain your mission. Build through difficulty and emerge even stronger, right? Hey, thanks, affirmation, man. I appreciate you. You know, when I deployed, man, we saw people, we lost people, right? We saw chaos. We didn't quit. We swayed. We survived. We built, right? Swaying isn't surrender. It's tactical superiority. You maintain strategic objective while adapting tactical approach. My strategic objective, build generational wealth for my beautiful daughter through media empire, IT, and cybersecurity, right? Of course, they have tactical disruptions, algorithm changes, platform suppression, market shifts, media chaos. My response, I continue to sway, right? When the algorithm change, You move to a different platform. When the platforms are suppressed, create owned distribution, right? When market shifts, adjust what you're offering. When there's media chaos, you build while competitors are distracted, right? And right now, final bosses, we have 350 plus thousand people who are followers, right? On various platforms, right? We do the shows a week. We stay consistent, right? We continue to sway. We didn't break because of the chaos or the storm. We swayed, right? Now, when it comes to media corporations, you have to understand their business model, right? Because their business model is selling advertising based on your attention, right? More engagement equals higher rates. Outrage generates more engagement. Annual revenue is in the billions from just your attention alone, right? When it comes to social media platforms, they're free for users. And when I say anytime something is free, you, my friends, are the product. When it's free, you're the product, right? You're the free users. And they sell your data and attention to advertisers, right? And you don't receive a penny. Algorithms optimize for engagement time. Rage keeps you scrolling. Meta, Meta 2025 revenue was 150 plus billion, right? TT was 120 plus billion, right? All from your data, attention, and outrage, right? And then we got to look at it from the politics, right? This is political fundraising. They send urgent crisis emails. I know you get them. Everyone gets them, right? It's amazing. All of us are getting these urgent crisis emails from political leaders, right? They're manufacturing fear of opposition, right? They request donations to fight back. And they wash, rinse, repeat daily, right? Both parties raised record billions in 2024, not from policy proposals, but from fear, right? And then one of my favorite topics, man, we have to talk about is surveillance capitalism, right? Surveillance capitalism, right? Surveillance capitalism, they collect data on everything, right? Everything you do. They build psychological profiles on you. They sell access, manipulate behavior, and Google knows your every search, your email, your location, your purchases. Amazon's know every product that you view, review, right? And those habits. Meta knows every post, right? They know your friends, they know your family, they know every click. They know you better than you know yourself, right? And they sell that knowledge and you don't receive a penny, right? And here's the fear-based product in marketing, right? Because media manufactures crises that companies sell solutions, right? They sell solutions. You see all these commercials now. Everybody's is selling survival gear. They're selling these supplements. They're selling security systems, insurance. They create the fear and then sell you the cure, right? Sounds very familiar of a historical story where certain wars and conflicts were manufactured, right? And while they were being manufactured, they were selling ammunition and weapons to both parties, along with the medical supplies to both parties, right? Go look that up, right? Go look that up, right? It called conflict profiteers, right? Every war every crisis, every division, someone profits, right? Someone profits. Defense contractors, security companies, pharmaceutical companies, tech companies. The entire economic system is built on keeping we, the people, distracted, right? Distracted, divided, afraid, enraged, and powerless, right? Your distraction is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And here's how you counter it. This is how you counter it. As I always say, you need to start auditing, right? Auditing where your money goes. What subscriptions are you paying for? What fear-based purchases are you making? What platforms profit from your data, right? Audit where attention goes. If you have hours on social media, audit. If you're spending too much time on these news sites, audit, right? If you're spending too much time arguing over meaningless, these meaningless arguments, audit, right? You need to start redirecting your economic power, support aligned businesses, build your own infrastructure, right? Create value instead of consuming entertainment. Invest in assets, not liabilities, right? We need to start redirecting attention, man. Redirect your attention, right? Start setting time for yourself to build, right? With zero media. Need to start choosing education over entertainment. To engage strategically, not emotionally. Build alternatives instead of complaining. We, the people, have trillions in spending. Where it goes determines who wins, right? We need to stop funding our own distractions, right? We need to stop funding them, right? Now, let's talk about the power they don't want you to remember, right? They don't want you to remember. Right? Power number one is attention is currency, right? Attention is currency. Every second has monetary value. Media sells it, platforms monetize it, corporations compete for it. If you control where attention goes, you control who profits, right? You can refuse the rage bait. Choose education, build instead of consume, right? And power number two, right? This is your economic power, right? We, the people, control trillions in spending, right? Where you shop determines which businesses thrive. You can build competing businesses, support alternatives, create systems representing your values, right? And then power number three, right? This is your platform power, right? Social media gave individuals broadcast capability that used to require millions, right? You can reach thousands without corporate backing, organize movement without permission, and compete with established media, right? They need you on platforms more than you need them, right? You can build your own distribution, right? And power number four, this is your organizational power because we, the people, can organize locally, digitally, economically, politically, right? Organized citizens are dangerous to centralized power. That's why they keep you divided, right? And power number five, This is your electoral power. You vote for representatives, policies, judges, local officials impacting daily life. Local elections are won by hundreds of votes, right? School board, city council, your sheriff, these affect you directly, right? And then power number 6, your generational power. You teach the next generation, your children, your students, your employees, your audience. One generation of empowered, educated, focused citizens can transform entire systems, right? And then power number 7, right? This is your creative power, right? You can create businesses competing with corporations, content competing with media systems that are competing with broken institutions, alternatives to what exists. Every major corporation started as one person with an idea. Every movement started as a small group. Every revolution started with few people refusing the status quo, right? Now, when you combine these, right? When you combine attention plus economics plus platform plus organization plus voting plus teaching plus creation, you know what that equals? You know what that equals, people? It equals we, the people. That's what it equals, right? They work so hard to keep you distracted, broke, silenced, divided, apathetic, ignorant, and consuming. Look at the state of the look at your environment right now. Name something that I didn't mention. Name it in the chat. You right now are distracted. You're broke. You're silenced. You're divided. You're apathetic. You're ignorant. You're consuming, right? They don't fear your anger. They don't fear your outrage. They profit from it. They fear your focus, right? They fear your organization. They fear your creative abilities, right? And they fear your individual power, right? You, yes, you have power, right? You've always had it. You just forgot, right? Now that I just helped you remember, and now you remember, now it's time to act, right? Because what is words without actions, right? And here are some executable protocols that you can start with tomorrow, right? Protocol number 1, starting tomorrow, you can have your morning power audit, right? Before consuming any media, ask yourself, what am I building today? What mission critical tasks require my focus? What would distraction costs look like? Who profits if I am enraged versus when I'm focused, right? Write those answers down. Review them before even opening your phone, right? And protocol number 2, this is your news consumption, right? You got to start building boundaries, right? Do a 15-minute block daily at 8 p.m., right? Specific sources only. Choose 2 to 3 credible outlets. No news before mission critical work. No news before or during building blocks, right? No doom scrolling. And protocol number 3, right? This is your rage beige recognition, right? This is your rage beige recognition checklist, right? Before engaging with any headline, ask yourself this question, man. Is this designed to make me angry? Who profits if I engage? Does this advance my mission? Is this news or manufactured outrage? Right? Can I verify from original source? Will engaging change anything? What will I not build if I engage? If there are more indications of rage bait, right? If there are more, don't engage, right? And protocol number 4, this is your 24-hour rule, right? Before sharing any outrage content, right? Wait 24 hours. Emotional reactions fade. Rational analysis emerge. false information gets debunked. 90% of what enrages you today will be irrelevant in 24 hours, right? And protocol number 5, right? This is your algorithm audit. Weekly screen time checks, man. Check and see how much time you're utilizing, how much screen time you're putting in per app, right? Identify which consumes the most attention, right? And then ask what you built versus what you consumed, right? And you adjust within those apps, right? You start building a time waster deletion program, right? And then there's protocol number 6, right? This is your strategic engagement matrix, right? Only engage when you can influence the outcome, right? And if that outcome advances your mission, right? Everything else you need to start ignoring, right? And protocol number 7. This is your protected time, right? This is your protected time between 5 and 7 a.m. daily, right? Keep a phone in a different room. No internet except if it's necessary for work. No social media, no news, just pure execution, right? That's 520 hours annually of protected building time, right? That's your protected time zone, right? And protocol number 8. This is your community accountability, right? Join or create accountability groups, right? With weekly check-ins on the things you're building, the progress you made, the distractions you faced, and put it in for next week's mission, right? And protocol number 9, right? This is your power weekly review, right? This is where you reclaim your power, right? Every Sunday evening, right? Do an attention audit, do an economic audit, do a creation audit, do a power audit, do a next week plan, track for 12 weeks, and you're going to see it. You're going to notice a pattern, right? And then there's protocol number 10, right? This is where you begin your sway process and have your sway practice, right? When the storm hits, you recognize it. Yes, this is a storm, but I am grass, right? You breathe. You don't react immediately. You assess, right? You assess. You sway, right? You adapt. You maintain, right? And you execute. These aren't theory. These are tactics, right? Now, we're going to talk about community, right? Let's talk about community. Because community is applicable to all things that I've been speaking of tonight, right? And my smarts, right? My smarts who are my critical thinkers, right? Your role is identifying manipulation and analyzing systems. You're immune to rage bait because you recognize psychological warfare. You teach others how to think, not what to think. Your mission this week, identify one rage bait tactic you fell for, right? Analyze why it worked. Share that framework with your community, right? And to my final bosses, you are the empire builders, right? Your role is building generational wealth and generating wealth, right? You redirect attention from consumption to creation. You build businesses competing with corporations you oppose. Your mission this week, identify 1 hour daily, right? Currently that you're given to social media, right? And redirect that same hour to building economic infrastructure, right? And then wash, rinse, repeat. Repeat your progress and report it, right? And to my motivators, you're the coaches, you're the leaders. Your role is empowering people and teaching next generation. You teach tactical flexibility. You guide people from rage bait toward power. In your mission this week, Teach one person the sway with grass, right? Teach them the sway with grass metaphor. Help them identify where they're rigid, right? When they should be flexible. And to my warriors who are battle tested, right? Your role is executing under pressure and leading through chaos. You recognize provocation when there's an actual threat. You maintain operational tempo regardless of those conditions. In your mission this week, right? Practice morning power audits, right? Protect your time with your time protocols, right? And report though any distractions, right? When all four segments execute, smarts identify manipulation, find the bosses build alternatives, motivators teach others, warriors execute protocols. The result is community that's immune to rage bait, that is focused on building, that is organized for action, and that, my friends, is powerful, right? This is we the people in practice, not waiting for politicians to fix systems, not waiting for politicians to build better systems, not waiting for politicians to listen to your complaints about media, not waiting for politicians to create something alternative, not waiting for politicians to continue to argue about problems and not solving them through action, right? Listen, if this resonates with you, comment right now. Comment, I'm in, right? Comment, I'm in, or on a social or whatever social media post, or if you see this, wherever you see it, comment, I'm in for this episode, right? Do your daily checks in, right? Do your daily check-ins, right? Make sure you are capturing what's enraging you, right? And then report it. Let us know, right? And tag 3 people who need to hear this, right? The community that executes together rises together, people. Rises together, right? Now, let's talk about revolution, right? Because we have to talk about revolution, right? Not revolution as in posting angry comments or sharing outrage or arguing with strangers or complaining about systems. I'm talking about actual revolution, right? Building alternative systems that make broken systems irrelevant, right? Example. I don't want to use this example, but I have to use this example, right? This is a clear cut and concise example, right? Because Amazon didn't complain about retail, right? Built alternatives that made traditional retail obsolete. Bitcoin didn't argue about monetary policy. They created decentralized alternative to central banking, right? Podcasting didn't complain about media bias. We built alternative distribution, bypassing gatekeepers, right? Notice the pattern. Builders who create alternatives win. Complainers who argue lose, right? Instead of complaining about platform censorship, build an email list you own. Build a podcast you control. Create a website as your platform, right? Community with direct relationship, right? We have hundreds of thousands of followers across many platforms here, right? I own my email list. I own this podcast, right? Platforms can silence me because I'm not dependent. They can't, right? And these economic systems, instead of complaining about corporate power, build competing businesses, create cooperative benefits for your community, right? Develop products serving your values, generate wealth funding alternatives, right? And when it comes to education system, instead of complaining about failed education, teach your children's what schools won't. Create content educating community, right? Document wisdom for the next generation, right? Think about it. And when it comes to community systems, right? Instead of complaining about social breakdowns, right? Organize local networks, create supporting systems, build accountability groups, develop mutual aid frameworks, right? Because community that builds together survives together, right? And then look at information systems. Instead of complaining about media biases, become a citizen journalist, right? Document truth directly, create investigative content, build credible alternative sources. Independent media now competes with mainstream media because people built alternatives, right? The principle is this: every broken system can be replaced by better systems, but replacement requires building, right? Not complaining, right? And if you don't, and if you think that the political system is broken, run for office, right? Support representing candidates, right? Create political movements, build policy alternatives, right? Right? And you think the healthcare system is broken, build health optimization businesses, create wellness community, right? Develop preventive care systems, share health knowledge, right? And if you think the financial system is broken, build wealth outside of traditional banking, create alternative investment vehicles, develop financial education, generate economic independence. The question isn't what's wrong with current systems. The question is, what alternative am I building? Right? We, the people, don't need permission to build. You don't need government approval to start a business, create content, teach children, organize community, build wealth, or solve problems. You just need will and execution. Stop complaining about broken systems. Stop arguing about how things should be. Stop waiting for someone to fix it. Start building. Start building. Start building. Build businesses, build content, build community, build wealth alternatives. That's we, the people, power, and action, right? Listen, this is episode number 186. We're at the end of season 3, The Reckoning, right? We got 15 episodes that remain before season 4, The Rebirth, which launches at episode number 201, right? The reckoning equals accountability, facing truth. It's a reality check, right? My personal reckoning, right? Your personal reckoning, right? You have to ask yourself, what power have you forgotten? What distractions have you accepted? What excuses are you making? What building have you delayed, right? And then there's a societal reckoning. How did we, the people, surrender power, right? What systems have we accepted that don't serve us? What manipulation have we fallen for? What alternatives haven't we built? Right? Episode 177, right? Episode 177, right? Reckoning with external chaos, right? You have to ask yourself, uh, will you build or will you continue to freeze? Right? Episode number 186, reckoning with forgotten power. Will you remember or will you surrender? Right? In the next 15 episodes, we're going to be talking about progressive reckoning, preparing you for transformation. Right? Because season 4, the rebirth, is about transformation, rising from the reckoning in true new form. Right? You can't be reborn if you haven't reckoned with truth. Phoenix must burn before rebirth. Butterflies must dissolve before transformation. Empire builders must face reality before rising. These 15 episodes, we're going to be burning away, right? We're going to be burning away what doesn't serve you, the distractions, the powerlessness, the rage bait addiction, right? The forgotten sovereignty, the broken systems of dependency. Because season 4 rebirth emerges, and you're going to emerge, and we're going to emerge because we're on this journey together, and we're going to emerge focused, powerful, tactical, sovereign, and independent, right? And then, of course, my doctoral research integration, right? Which I start in July, right? At CTU. I'm studying AI foundations and ethical considerations, right? My dissertation of focus is you it's going to be dealing with AI, of course. And this is the translation, man, of that. How do humans maintain sovereignty? We, the people, when integrated with AI systems, right? Tonight's episode is research, right? How do humans resist algorithmic manipulation? How do people maintain power in attention economy? How does tactical flexibility apply to technological integration, right? In season 4, we're going to integrate this doctoral level research, right? We're going to integrate practical empire building, right? We're going to integrate academic rigor, right? Plus street execution, right? Because season 3 equals the foundation. It started the process of the 6 pillars of success. You're remembering your power, and we're going to build through chaos, and we're going to resist the manipulation, right? Because season 4 equals elevation, advanced consciousness, integration, systematic excellence, empire architecture, right? 15 episodes from now, everything changes. Every single thing changes, right? Over the next 15 episodes, I'm covering advanced focus protocols, systematic wealth building, consciousness technology integration, generational legacy architecture, tactical superiority frameworks, community organization systems, all preparing you for the rebirth, right? Don't just consume these episodes, execute the protocols, right? Apply the tactical intelligence. And by episode 200, you should be rage bait immune, building consistently, power aware, tactically flexible, community organized, and alternative system creating. That's the transformation. That's reckoning leading to rebirth, right? Tonight, we all remembered. We all remembered what we, the people, means, right? We remembered what we, the people, means, right? You have power and you've always had it. You just forgot. Now it's time to act, right? It is time to act, right? It's time to act. Go build, go teach, right? Go build, go teach, right? And remember, we the people, right? You execute, you build through chaos, you demonstrate, right? You demonstrate tactical flexibility. You create alternative systems. You, you, you win, right? You win. That's what you do. You go out there and you win, right? The struggle Olympics are over. The struggle Olympics are over, right? To my motivators, to my final bosses, to my oh my God. To my motivators, to my warriors, to my smarts, to my final bosses, right? We're on this journey together, right? And I'm building this podcast empire, 5 shows weekly at 9 p.m. Eastern time, not to debate current events. I'm building it, man. I'm building it for you, for all of us, for my daughter. We all have power. Remember it, use it, never surrender it, right? We're building it so our families can increase in knowledge, right? And economic infrastructure, right? We're protecting it with IP protocols, right? Documented frameworks, pursuing the things that are necessary for us to pursue, right? We're creating, we're doing all of it, right? Because we the people means people deserve the power. Recognize your power. You still have it. Tomorrow, Monday, 9 p.m., Motivation Monday returns, right? Then Tuesday, we'll be here with the sensei, right? He joins me for Tech Tuesday. And then Wednesday, right? Wednesday is Merger Wednesday, right? That's my conversation that continues with consciousness, technology, integration, research, right? And then Thursdays is my special guest Thursdays, right? And then we do it all over again on Sunday, where we sit down and do it all over again. 5 nights weekly, every week, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Because consistency is infrastructure. Because discipline is destiny. Because we, the people, don't get to forget our power just because the world is chaotic. You're not powerless. You never were. You're not dependent on broken systems. You can build better ones. You're not controlled by algorithms. You control your attention. You're we the people. Act like it, right? Act like it. 15 episodes to go before rebirth. And remember, you can't experience rebirth if you keep forgetting your power. You need to remember it. You need to reclaim it. You need to use it, right? The grass survives the storm. The empire builder survives chaos. We, the people, survive everything. Stay dangerous, my friends. Stay focused. Stay powerful. This has been the Final Boss Podcast. I am the Final Boss, and I will see you again tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Motivation Monday. Thank you for joining us. And if this show resonated with you, man, let it marinate in your spine. And always remember, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. We are here. I am here. This has been the Final Boss Podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Be balanced, be equal, and be smart. That is our show for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed this show. I hear that the Seahawks won. Shout out to the sensei, man. He's a huge Seahawks fan. They pulled it off. They pulled it off. Interesting. Interesting indeed. But remember, you have the power. Now go use it. Act like it. Go be a service to your community, to humanity. You have a good night.